What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Breezy, and you are watching Breezy World. So today we got a special video for y'all. We got another movie review for you. Today we're going to be reviewing the movie Queen and Slim, and we're going to go in depth about the plot, the characters, what my opinions on the movie, certain scenes that stuck out in the movie, and just a whole bunch of stuff. Before we get into that, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to your boy. I need more subscribers, I need more likes, and I need more engagement in the comment section. So please, if y'all would, like, comment, subscribe to your boy, and support what I'm doing over here. Alright, so first and foremost, let's go ahead and get into the rundown of the plot of the movie. So Queen and Slim takes place in, I believe, Cleveland, Ohio, and it's basically a black dude and a black woman on their first Tinder date in this breakfast diner. Now, Slim is basically just this laid back, average Joe, everyday black man who just is very content with life. He looks to be your average blue collar worker, type of dude you'll catch working at a warehouse or factory or construction worker, that type of deal. And he's just a chill, laid back brother. Then there's Queen, who is a lawyer, and she's very what's the word I'm looking for? She seems very stuck up, basically. During the whole Tinder date, she's kind of giving the brother a lot of attitude and whatnot. Kind of like giving him the vibe like, you ain't on my level and whatnot. He told her, she actually told him that she was only on the Tinder date because, she saw his profile pic and she felt sorry for him. The type of chick who would go on a date with a dude just for the free meal type stuff. So that's kind of the vibe she was giving Slim, and Slim was just like chilling, like Slim. You could tell from the first interaction, he's the kind of character as I am who I am. You either like me or you don't. It is what it is. So they go on this Tinder date that didn't really turn out too well because it didn't seem like they really had, a lot of chemistry. And then they leave the diner. Slim gives Queen a ride to her apartment and whatnot. So Slim, he's obviously trying to smash and whatnot because, he in the car basically. When they get to talking or whatever, and he's all like, hey, what are your plans later on? I was thinking we can chill and whatnot. And you can tell like Queen, she really wasn't feeling him like that. She's like, I know you ain't thinking about smashing, So it's that type of vibe and whatnot. So he at that point, Slim is like, he finna just cut his losses, take this girl home, and the two of them, basically, it's looking like it's not gonna be a second date, right? It's looking like, it was it is what it is. We just gonna go on our separate ways and whatnot. Now, on their way home, on the way of, Slim taking her home, they encounter, they come into a situation to where it ultimately alters the course of both of their lives, basically. So along the way, Slim is pulled over by this police officer, this white dude, and he basically doesn't really have a cause to pull him over, because I saw the movie a couple weeks ago. I don't remember if he told Slim anything about like a tail light was out or he had a suspended license plate or anything. He basically stopped him with no probable cause, from what we could tell, and he basically was just harassing dude and asked him to get out of the car and went and searched his car. Mind you, he doesn't have a warrant, right, to search this dude's car, but this cop is just having at it, searching Slim's car, giving him mad attitude and whatnot, and that kind of causes Queen to start snapping at the cop, like, sir, do you have a warrant? Do you have, and Slim is basically trying to calm her down, like, look, just calm down, just, let's not cause any problems around here, let's, let this man just do his job, and so we can just go on about our way and just be peaceful and whatnot. This kind of seems like she's escalating the situation, but then again, they're citizens, they have their rights, you can't just, this cop was in the wrong because he had no probable cause to really stop them and whatnot. A lot of cops, they'll make that excuse that he's the vehicle matched the description, or he matched the description, type of stuff that they use to, harass minorities and whatnot. But mind you, Queen's a lawyer, so she already knows her rights. She already knows the law. She knows that this is an unjust stop. But she knows this cop has no probable cause to search this vehicle, search this dude. So she's kind of getting the attitude with the cop. Now, the fact that she kind of gets a little bit of attitude with the cop kind of provokes this officer to basically, start roughing up Slim and whatnot, and pointing his gun around, and just demanding a whole bunch of ridiculousness. And it gets to the point to where the cop is basically waving his gun around like he's finna shoot them, and he actually ends up shooting Queen in the leg. And then as soon as the cop shoots her, that Slim gets up and kind of wrestles with the cop and manages to wrestle the gun away, and wrestles him to the ground. Really, he's trying to protect his date. You know what I'm saying? Because this cop just shot her, without any. He had no reason to shoot her, but he just shot her. So at that point, this is all self-defense. He's wrestling this cop and trying to wrestle the gun away from him. This is all in self-defense at this point. And basically, Slim manages to get a hold of the gun. The cop gets up, because Slim done threw the cop on the ground and whatnot, got a hold of the gun, and the cop gets up, getting ready to do something else to him, and Slim shoots the cop. So everything that happened, mind you, the cop pulled them over, and the vehicle is behind Slim's vehicle. So the whole altercation was all recorded, and it all went down on the police officer's dash cam. So basically, the whole situation was the cop, was roughing him up, doing a whole bunch of illegal shit, and Slim basically shot the cop in self-defense. But they're black, so they, the likelihood of them going to court behind this and them actually winning this case and everything working out in their favor, we already know the justice system is highly corrupt, and we already know that there's in certain cities that certain police departments in certain cities are corrupt, and so they are faced with we could either stick around and try to plead our case and try to act like not act, because they are in the right, because they are just acting in self-defense, but we all know how that whole thing goes down with this corrupt justice system. So they decide, we're black, we just killed a cop, we gotta bounce, like we gotta go. So that basically alters the course of both of their lives. Now they're wanted for murdering a cop, and now they gotta go on the run and try to evade evade whatever happens next, basically. So basically, they basically go on this whole road trip across, from Cleveland, Ohio, all the way down south, and they just encounter a lot of, stops and misadventures, meet a lot of people that help them along the way, and this whole, the whole time, the dash cam footage of the police officer roughhousing Slim and basically harassing the couple, it goes viral and everybody knows about this, and Queen and Slim are now all over the news, and just this whole situation blows up basically in the media and whatnot, and they are on the run, and it's just a whole catastrophe. And they actually end up making it all the way to Florida, and ironically they are betrayed by another black person. So ironically, another black person betrays them, because their whole plan was, okay, we gotta get all the way from where we at to Florida, and they got a tip from what's the name, from Queen's uncle. I forgot the name of the uncle, but they got a tip by I think forgive me, y'all. It was like a couple weeks since I seen this movie, but if I'm not mistaken, I think it was the uncle that gave him a tip that if they meet up with this guy who knows a guy in Florida, basically they can get them on an airplane and get them to Cuba, and they can basically evade American law and American jurisdiction, basically. So that's their whole plan. So they get to Florida, they meet this dude in Florida who claims that he can help them get to an airplane and get to Cuba, and this guy betrays them, sells them out for what I assume is like $250,000 or whatnot, and they get caught. And when they're on the landing strip, the police actually end up shooting them down. So that's how that movie ends. It actually ends very sadly. I wasn't really expecting the ending to be what it is, but it was supposed to end like that because they wanted the characters Queen and Slim to be looked upon in the community as a symbol of how do I want to put this? A symbol of justice, against police brutality. You know what I'm saying? That's probably why they had it in the way they had it in. But the ending, I'm not gonna lie, the ending was kind of disappointing, but I understand why it was done the way it was done. So that's basically the synopsis, the plot of the movie. Now let's get into the nitty gritty. Let's go ahead and talk a little more in depth about the main characters, Queen and Slim. Let's start with Slim. So as I said at the beginning of this review, Slim is basically, just your average run-of-the-mill black dude. You know what I'm saying? He's not, he's not no basketball player. No highly paid athlete. He's not like this rapper. He's not, a baller. He's not none of that. He's just your average run-of-the-mill, everyday blue-collar black dude. Type of dude. He probably, work a regular job. Probably works at, maybe an oil plant or maybe a warehouse or maybe a factory or construction worker, a truck driver. Oh, my bad, I'm sorry. But, something regular like that. So, average blue collar, a guy, probably doesn't make a whole bunch of money, but, gets by. And, he's basically just your average chill dude. He's not trying to, be more than what he is, but he's okay with that. he's okay with where he's at. He's just trying to live his life, basically, and he just is looking. You know, he's obviously on Tinder, so he's obviously just looking for a partner to. Sorry, he's obviously just looking for a partner to live his life with. So that's basically Slim in a nutshell. It doesn't really go into like his background or his, you know, his story. We actually see more in depth into Queen's story and see why she is the way she is, but we don't really get that with Slim. It's not really, you know, it doesn't really go in depth as to, you know, how he grew up, what he may have overcame, or whatnot to get to the point that he is now. So, you know, from all intents and purposes, he's just your average run-of-the-mill black dude. And then let's talk about Queen's character. Now, Queen's character is a little bit more interesting because, you know, the movie actually goes a little bit more in depth as to, you know, who she is and why she is the way she is. Sorry, I got a cough. Yeah, the movie actually goes a little bit more in depth with who she is and why she is the way she is. She's actually a lawyer. So she's actually more than likely in a higher tax bracket than Slim. As I said, Slim, from what we can tell, he's just your average run-of-the-mill black guy. You know, I'm not saying he may not, you know, have a lot of money or whatnot. We don't know, but from how they present him, we're just saying he's your average run-of-the-mill dude. She, being a lawyer, is more than likely in a different tax bracket than him. So she actually comes off as from the beginning of the movie. She actually comes off as not very likable character because she's acting very stuck up towards him. She's acting like, you know, like you ain't on my level. Like she's kind of looking down on him during their whole first date. She's basically, you know, criticizing. You know, she's just not giving him some good energy. Like one of the things she tells him on the date is, so is this, like, she says, so is this like the only restaurant you can afford to take me to? Like, come on, like you acting, you know, you really being a little rude to this dude who just wanted to come out and just have a good time with you. So that's why her character in the beginning, in my opinion, wasn't that likable. Later on down the line, she actually gets more likable, but the movie actually goes into depth as to, you know, why she is the way she is and why she acts so standoffish. Basically, she had she had some bad history with her uncle, which we'll get into later on. Let me go ahead and get into it now. Basically, her uncle killed her mom. Now, it doesn't really doesn't really go into depth about that situation. It doesn't go into depth as to was it an accident or was it, you know, why he killed her mom. But all we know is somewhere in her past, her uncle killed her mom, and she basically, you know, it really took a toll on her. As to that situation just took a toll on her to where she basically built a wall around herself, and she used her education and her status and, you know, whatnot as a way to build a wall around herself to where she can't, you know, let anybody in. Basically, it's revealed that she doesn't normally go on dates at all. As she stated to Slim, she only really went on a date with him because she felt sorry for him. So this is the type of chick who doesn't really date that often, who, you know, is very shut in, very, you know, recluse, you know. So that's kind of why she is the way she is. But, you know, and even knowing that, you know, you still kind of feel some type of way because, you know, you still didn't have to be kind of for lack of better terms, kind of be an asshole to Slim who, you know what I'm saying? But it kind of goes into depth as to why she is the way she is. And there's actually a turning point in the movie to where her character actually starts to become a more likable character. And I believe that turning point in the movie is when she's having a conversation with the hooker. Now, her uncle basically is a pimp, right? Her uncle is a former Army veteran who, you know, I guess when he came back to the States, he started pimping, and he's just been pimping ever since, or whatnot. And somewhere down the line, he ended up going to jail because of the situation that I just previously explained. For some reason he ended up killing Queen's mom. And if I'm making an assumption, I'm just making a guess. It doesn't say what that situation was, but if I'm to make a guess, based on what we know about her uncle, I think his name was Earl, Uncle Earl. Her uncle basically, being a Vietnam vet, maybe he just not Vietnam, but he was a Army vet. So maybe he had a situation where he was experiencing PTSD or some post-traumatic stress, and he just snapped off and did something crazy due to his PTSD, and he ended up accidentally killing her mom. I don't know. That's just a situation that I'm guessing may have happened, to where he ended up going to jail behind that for murder. And, you know, Queen being a lawyer, she was able to get him out of jail or bail him out or get him out somewhere. So he basically owes her. So one of the first places that they stop along the journey is her uncle's house, who basically owes her a tremendous favor for getting him out of jail for killing her own mom. So her uncle is a pimp, and that's how he makes his money. And when they arrive at her uncle's house, they basically have to disguise their identity or whatnot. So Slim, he has to get a fade because, you know, at the beginning of the movie, his hair is a little wild and unkempt, a little bit how mine is kind of right now. But, you know, his is a little worse, basically. It looked like that's why I say it looks like he is your average working class guy who doesn't make a whole bunch of money, because the way they presented him at the beginning of the movie, with his hair being unkept, it looked like he didn't have a haircut in, you know, months and whatnot. So from what we can guess, he probably, you know, he don't really got money like that. So it looked like he hasn't really had a haircut in months. He ends up getting a fade, and some new clothes and whatnot. Queen ends up having to cut her hair because in the beginning of the movie she has some very long braids. She has to end up cutting her hair and kind of getting just a short little haircut. Her hair is similar to how my hair looks by the time they're done cutting her hair. And the girl who's doing her hair is one of her uncle's prostitutes. And while the prostitute is doing Queen's hair, she is they're basically talking about him, talking about her uncle and whatnot, and, you know, how he is the way he is. And the hooker actually says something that I found very profound. She says, "See, we basically worship your uncle because he needs us to worship him. Because outside of here, you know, outside of this house, outside of this little environment he's created for himself, outside of here, the world tells him he ain't shit. So he's the, you know, in here is the only place, you know, where he's able to, you know, feel like a king, and we treat him like a king because this is the only place in the world that he's able to basically be treated like a king." And I found that so profound because from what I could tell in the movie, it seemed like Queen's character kind of internalized that little bit of dialogue from that prostitute, and because prior to that moment, she's been treating Slim's character like basically like he's just, you know, he's kind of dumb, like he's just, you know, he ain't hitting on nothing. You know, she acts very standoffish towards Slim, very stuck up towards him and whatnot. And you know, Slim being your average run-of-the-mill black dude, you know, he's probably experienced a lot of hardships that most black guys experience in this country. So, you know, him being stopped by that white cop probably was not his first time being unjustly stopped, you know, as your run-of-the-mill black dude. So basically, Slim represents your average everyday black man who basically the real treats like shit. So basically, that's what the prostitute was trying to get through to Queen. Like, yo, the world is gonna treat, you know, the black man like shit. You know what I'm saying? So in that household that her uncle has, those hookers basically treat him like a king. Basically, there was a deeper message to that bit of dialogue. It was, you know, and I don't think a lot of people caught that. It's like, you know, if the black man has to be treated like shit in the greater society, in the, you know, in the Western world, why are you treating him like shit in the household? Like, he has to go out and face the world and acting like, you know, being treated like garbage in the rest of the world, and then he has to come home and, you know, you acting very standoffish towards him as well. Like, he doesn't need to deal with that. You know what I'm saying? And from that little bit of dialogue, you kind of see the dynamic between Queen and Slim kind of change to where she's actually, you know, treating him a little bit better, and eventually they fall in love. But from that moment on into the rest of the movie, you kind of see, you know, a little bit of change in her attitude towards Slim, because it's almost like she kind of internalized what that prostitute was saying. So I think that was the point of that little bit of dialogue, and I think a lot of people missed that. A lot of people who I see who are doing reviews over this movie, I think they really missed that little point. But, you know, I thought that was very profound that they added that element into it. Now, before we get into all the things that I just loved about this movie, let's start with the things that I thought were kind of dumb. You know, because I actually did enjoy this movie. I like this movie. I do recommend it, but there were, you know, a few things in this movie that I thought were just, I was just like, bro, what? You know what I'm saying? So there's some things in this movie that was just dumb. So let's get into that. The first thing that I thought was just completely dumb in this movie was that scene where when they're on the road, right, and they stop for gas. You know, Slim, for some reason, he can't seem to figure out that a car runs on gas, because he keeps on running the car around, you know, on E, and he frequently stops. You know, he frequently forgets to put gas in the car. So one of the times where he finally stops to put gas in the car, he walks into a convenience store that only has one co-worker in there. It's this white dude and whatnot, and he has a gun that he ended up picking up along the way. And mind you, both Queen and Slim have no money on them at all right now, so they don't really have money to stop and pay for some gas. So Slim decides he's gonna try to rob this gas station, right? Now, he gets up to the counter and whatnot. He says, "I need $45 worth of gas." Whoa. Then he flashes the gun at the worker and whatnot, and he's like, "You know, I'm gonna rob you if you don't give me some free gas. I'm gonna shoot you." And the guy working at the counter kind of calls his bluff, right? He's like, yeah, you ain't gonna shoot shit. Like, you don't look like the type of nigga that's gonna shoot somebody. Yeah, woo woo. So, Slim, basically realizes the white guy called his bluff and whatnot. He ain't gonna shoot him. So the white dude at the counter is like, "Whoa, what kind of gun is that, dude? Like, is that a?" Well, I forgot what kind of gun it was. Is that a 65 Magnum revolver? I'm not a gun person, so I wouldn't know all the specs of the gun, the particular specs of the gun was. But it was an interesting gun that the white guy at the counter thought was interesting. He's like, "Dude, if you let me hold the gun, I'll give you some free gas, bro." And Slim was like, he's hesitant, and he should be, because I'm watching this scene. I'm like, bro, you better not give him this gun. Is he really finna give this guy the gun? And the guy at the counter is like, "Yeah, dude, seriously, let me hold that gun, and I'll give you some free gas." I'm like, bro, you better not give this man your gun. Like, that should be rule number one of being on the run from the cops. Don't give away your gun. Like, what the fuck? So Slim's dumbass hands over the gun to the white guy, and I'm just watching, like, really, bro? Like, who does this? Who just, what? Like, why would he just hand over the gun? Like, that scene was just stupid to me. So he hands the white guy the gun. The white guy is holding the gun like, "Oh, dude, I've never knew." He's like so excited about this gun. He's like, "Dude, I've always wanted to hold a deadly weapon, bro." And then he ends up pointing it at Slim. I'm like, oh, goddamn. You done gave the fucking gun to this school shooter looking motherfucker. Like, why? Why? You know what I'm saying? That was stupid to me. But he ends up, not shooting him in the face, and he ends up getting the gas. But that whole scene was dumb. Like, that's something that I don't see ever happening. I know this is supposed to be a fictional story, it's supposed to be fantasy, whatnot, but at the same time, that right there it was just completely retarded. Like, there's no way this guy is on the run from the police and he just hands over his gun to every motherfucker that asks to hold his gun. Like, come on. So that right there I thought was stupid. Another scene in this movie that I really thought was kind of dumb was that scene where they end up, the car ends up breaking down, right? So they roll over, they end up pushing the car on foot to this auto repair shop. Sorry guys. They end up pushing the car to this auto repair shop, and they get their car worked on, and they encounter a teenager who is the son of the auto mechanic who's doing work on the car, right? So there's the teenager. He's been watching the whole story unfold on the news and whatnot. He's like, "Oh, I know who you guys are. You guys are Queen of Slim. Woo. I've seen, I saw y'all on the news. You guys are heroes, man. Y'all really, giving us something to believe in." And the boy, he's very inspired by he's really inspired by this whole situation that went down between them, which they really weren't trying to be heroes. They really just shot the cop in self-defense and are on the run now. But it seems within the movie that the black community is looking at them as as heroes, as people who are taking a stand against police brutality, people who are taking a stand against police harassment and whatnot. So, long story short, they get their car repaired. They end up, going a few miles down the road and whatnot. Now, a couple days later, there's a demonstration happening in that small town that they just stopped at, and that teenager is in that demonstration, and basically it's a bunch of protesters, protesting the justice system, protesting police brutality. They're all pretty much inspired by the Queen of the situation that's going on with Queen of Salem, and there's cops out there in riot gear to calm down the protesters, right? Long story short, as most, not most, but as a lot of these protesters, as a lot of these protests go, you know, like the one we saw in Ferguson and whatnot, you know, all hell breaks loose, right? You know, tear gas is being thrown, cops are, you know, beating people's ass with nightsticks, you know, things, you know, all hell is breaking loose. People are running around, and you know what I'm saying, it's madness, right? So this teenager is walking, you know, the teenager is roaming around amongst this madness, this swirling madness that's going on with this riot, and he encounters a cop. He actually encounters a black cop, and the cop is basically, the cop basically tells the teenager, hey, look, dude, you know, I don't want to arrest you, but you gotta go home, okay? If you don't go home, I'm gonna arrest you. It's not gonna be good. So just go home. Just, you know, just leave. This ain't the place for you. So the kid, the teenager is dumb as fuck, because he's just yelling at the cop, oh yeah, what you gonna do? You gonna shoot me? Huh? You gonna shoot me? You fucking pig. You're like, you know what I'm saying? And the cop is like, dude, I'm not gonna shoot you. Like, what the fuck's your problem? Like, dude, go home. You gonna get hurt out here. You know, I don't want to see nothing happen to you. Just go home. You know, if you stay out here, I will arrest you. But if you just go home, you know, it don't gotta be nothing. And the kid is like, nah, you know, the kid is on some fuck the police type shit, and he's not trying to hear it. Like, he's just, yo, what you gonna do? You gonna shoot me? Huh? You gonna shoot me? What you want? And the cop's like, kid, go home, dude. Like, I don't want to have to put these cuffs on you. I'm not gonna shoot you, but I will arrest you. Like, go home. So this dumbass kid pulls a gun out of his jacket and points at the cop and shoots the cop in the face. And I'm just watching this like, word? Like, what the fuck? That escalated quick, nigga. Like, what the? This nigga just pulls out a gun and shoots this cop in the face. The cop was actually chill. He was a good cop. He wasn't trying to do nothing to you. Like, he just whips out a gun and shoots the cop. So the teenager ends up getting shot because, you know, he's a cop killer now. And I'm just watching this whole scene go down. I'm like, really, my nigga? Like, for real? Like, that was kind of a dumb scene, because I don't see that really happening in a real world situation. Like, you know what I'm saying? Now I know there's been a lot of, you know, crazy protests going on, definitely in recent years due to the killing of unarmed black men by the police and whatnot. But I don't see, you know, I don't see a real life protest going in that direction. I just don't see something like that actually going down like that. I don't see anybody at a Black Lives Matter protest, you know, walking straight up to a cop, just a random cop, and just shooting him in the face just cause. You know what I'm saying? I don't see nothing like that, you know, really going down. Like, the closest thing that I can remember in recent years of something like that going down was the situation in Dallas with that dude on the roof who, with the sniper rifle, and he shot, you know, some cops and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? I do remember that, and that's a messed up situation. And he was on some black nationalist, F the police type stuff. You know, that type of stuff happened. But even in that situation, he didn't actually just walk straight up to a cop during a protest and just shoot him in the face and whatnot. Like, that whole scene was dumb. And I was just looking at it like, why did y'all just add this here? Like, what, like, why? That was just my whole thought of watching that scene. I was like, why? Like, what point are we trying to make here? Like, why this kid just pulled a gun out of his ass and just shot a cop? Like, it was just dumb to me. So I mean, I'm sorry, you know, if y'all watching and y'all think that scene had a deeper message, let me know in the comment section. But I just thought that scene was kind of stupid. Like, it was unnecessary, bro. It was really unnecessary. Now, Melina Matsoukas or Matsoukas, I'm not sure how to pronounce her name, but Melina, we're gonna say Melina Matsoukas. Melina Matsoukas, who is the director of Queen of Slim, described the movie as a reverse slave escape narrative. And upon watching this movie, I would agree. I definitely agree. Now, along the way, during their chase from the law, they got help from both black people and white people. You know, whether they were in the club and whatnot, or whether they just wherever they ended up going, they got help along the way. And it was almost like the Underground Railroad, where a slave will escape, and you know, there's certain stops on the Underground Railroad where people will help them. You know, people will let them stay for a night or two, and then give them a tip on where to go next, or they'll go to one stop and they'll tell them, okay, if you go down this path over here, you know, say you're gonna find another man who will help you out. So it was kind of on that type of stuff. So I can see why this is a modern day slave escape movie, or a modern day Underground Railroad type movie. There's actually one scene in the movie where they made their way to this white family's house, and the cops actually were tipped off that they were hiding in this house, and they ended up going upstairs and hiding underneath the floorboards, which is really that scene right there really correlates to something you would have saw during the Underground Railroad, where, you know, slaves would be stowed away underneath the floorboards, or hiding in the basement, or, you know, that type of thing. So I could really see how this could be. This was basically meant to be like a modern day Underground Railroad type deal. Another thing that I thought was very interesting was the chemistry that was created between Slim and Queen. A lot of people, you know, I've been watching a lot of movie reviews about this movie, and a lot of people expressed that, you know, it was kind of dumb how they kept on, you know, stopping to do little stupid stuff. You know, there was one scene where they stopped to, you know, they stopped at the club to dance a little bit. There was another scene where they stopped, you know, they found some horses out on a ranch, and they stopped to ride some horses on the ranch and whatnot. So they would make like little bit of stops and whatnot, just to do little unnecessary things when they're really supposed to be on the run from the police. A lot of people didn't really, you know, they thought that aspect of the movie was kind of dumb, because, you know, why would you, if you're on the run from the law, why would you stop and do this little, you know, unnecessary, you know, these little unnecessary activities and whatnot. I actually thought it was clever how they were doing it, because they needed a way to build chemistry between the two characters. Because mind you, they started off with no chemistry at all, because they were on a Tinder date from hell. Like they were on this Tinder date, which they realized they weren't compatible and whatnot. There probably wasn't going to be another a second Tinder date between them and what have you. But due to this situation, them depending on each other, them relying on each other to survive, that basically brought them together and basically formed a bond between them. And them, you know, them stopping at the club to dance a little bit, that just kind of adds more to the bond, adds a little bit more to the chemistry between the two characters. That it gives them, you know, an ability for them to, you know, get to know each other a little bit, for lack of a better term. So I didn't really have a problem with that aspect of the movie. And of course, we gotta address the ending of this movie. A lot of folks were not really feeling the ending of this movie, and I understand why, because as I previously stated, the ending was very, very, very sad. You know what I'm saying? It almost makes you want to cry at the end. You know, as I mentioned, they had to get to Florida, meet this man who who was supposed to give them, get them to an airplane and where they can, get on the plane and escape and get to Cuba and, escape American jurisdiction. And the man who is supposed to help them out is a black dude who ends up selling them out. You know what I'm saying? And that just, it's so sad, but it's meant to show, like, sometimes to be your own people. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, we have black folks in our community who will sell us out. You know what I'm saying? Who will, everybody who is, the same race of you may not necessarily, share your same views. Or even if they do, some people will just sell you out for the right price. Like some people, some people are just snakes like that. And, that's what they wanted to show in the movie. And I get it. So I wasn't really tripping too hard on the ending, but I really do wish it would have ended on a happy note. I do wish, they would have actually escaped, made it to Cuba, lived happily ever after. I do think, what I'm saying, I'm not tripping on the ending, but the movie, if the movie had ended on a positive note, I feel like the movie would have been better. I'll say that. If they would have made it to Cuba and lived their life, lived the rest of their life in Cuba, and we as the audience, we got to see Queen and Slim get married, have children, tell their children about the story of how they took a stand against police brutality and they escaped America and this, that, and the third, and that would have been a better ending to this movie. But I understand why they ended the movie like it was, because Queen and Slim, their characters really represented something in the media, because it was giving, the rest of the country something, something to believe in. It really inspired a lot of people, and, to be fair, it inspired some people for the wrong reasons, because as we saw with that teenager who just whipped out a gun and shot the cop in the face, it did inspire a lot of people for the wrong reasons, but it also really inspired people to take a stand against police brutality, take a stand against police harassment and whatnot, and them being killed, in a way, it immortalized them. Oftentimes when black heroes or black people who we perceive as heroes get killed in our community, their legacy is almost immortalized. And oftentimes, unfortunately, a lot of black folks aren't as loved, a lot of black heroes, rather, are not as loved during their lifetime as they are in death, you know what I'm saying? And it is how it is. Matter of fact, a lot of people in general, you know what I'm saying, are more loved in death than they are in life, you know what I'm saying? When people are living, you'll have a lot of people who will stab you in the back or talk bad about that person, or this, that, and the third. But once someone passes away, then we have nice things to say about them because they're gone now. It's almost like, damn, like, do our heroes really have to die before they actually get respect, or we actually take a second to think about, okay, what were they actually talking about? You know what I'm saying? Like if a hero of ours dies, it's like we weren't paying attention to their message or what they were trying to get across in their lifetime, but now that they're gone and they passed away, it's like we go back and we study their philosophy now that they're gone. You know what I'm saying? Why aren't they as loved during their life as they are in death? You know what I'm saying? So that just gives us something to think about. And that's probably, the kind of direction they were going with the ending of killing Queen and Slim. So it is what it is, but in my personal opinion, I do think the movie would have been better if they had lived and lived happily ever after. Because it's a fiction. It's a fiction, by the way. So it's fiction. It's fantasy. This is not based on a true story. This may be a story that might happen one day. That's the type of story it is. It's the type of story that could possibly happen. You know what I'm saying? You know, I could see something like this happening, but it didn't happen. It's not real. You know what I'm saying? Like if we made a movie about, okay, take Straight Outta Compton for example. We saw the death of Eazy-E in the movie because Eazy-E actually died. So that's based off of a true story. So that's why we saw it play out. But this is based, sorry y'all, this is based on fantasy. So in fantasy, you know, this story, you know, being that this never happened, we could have made it to where they live at the end. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I just really wish they would live happily ever after. That's just my opinion. But that basically concludes this movie review. If I were to rate Queen and Slim, let's see, what rating would I give Queen and Slim? I would give it a 3.5. A 3.5. Yeah, I'm giving it 3.5. 3.5. It was great acting. I loved the acting. It was beautifully shot. It showed black folks in a very beautiful way. It had, you know, some strong messages in it. You know, I did enjoy this movie. I do recommend y'all go see it. The reason why I can't give it the full 5 stars is because of the certain dumb scenes in the movie that I had to point out. There were certain scenes in this movie that were kind of just stupid to me. So, I had, you know, I can't give it full stars for that, but I do recommend it. It's an interesting movie. It's very entertaining. I do recommend y'all go see it. The soundtrack of this movie is fire. So go, you know, if you like a movie with a dope soundtrack, this is the type of movie you want to go watch. So go watch the movie. Give your opinion of the movie. You don't have to agree with me. If you don't like the movie, let me know. If you like the movie, let me know. Just let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Yeah, that's basically all I got for y'all today. So thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and we out.